All right, here we go. Here, chicky. Hopefully you guys got enough chicken sandwiches from our latest short. But anyways, we got a lot to talk about. Big NFL draft this past weekend. Major League Baseball, NHL playoffs to start soon. We'll talk about our latest short. Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. The Chief, TSG, Pooh Bear, all ready to go. I am B Love, and this is the main event.
It wouldn't be a main event show without a costume change.
Always gotta be somebody.
I saw it happening. I can see the camera feeds down below, and I was watching it happen. I'm going, this is.
Funny thing is, I was going to go for my bow tie, but I knew I couldn't get it on in time. It took me forever to do it. So I'm out this week.
My patch is holding.
I'm holding it. I couldn't do it either.
Yeah,
he almost had it. I was watching him struggle with it. That was kind of fun.
Come on.
So for those of you who don't know, TSG is wearing his part of his outfit for the Kentucky Derby party yesterday that we had.
Yeah. All right. 2 points of order real quick before we get into the agenda. One, this is not a live show. So if you're tuning in and you're wanting to make comments on, what we got going on and everything, this was pre-recorded on Sunday afternoon for 7:00 showtime. But if you make some comments, somebody from the team will eventually respond to you. Second, Chief, you took the wrong jacket home last night.
Oh,
did I really?
Did you realize that you didn't even take the right one?
No, man. As a matter of fact, I took the jacket. It's already balled up in the bag to go back to the thrift store, man.
Well, I mean, you two did have very similar jackets. I'm assuming he took yours.
Listen, he took mine, and his jacket is slung over the back of a chair.
I think they both came from the same dead guy's closet. They were too similar.
Except his was a short. So the sleeves aren't gonna fit for me. But you must have been so excited from your Derby Day winnings that you just accidentally picked up the wrong jacket.
It's a good day for the Chief. Let me tell you.
What did you come home with? I think I landed on $22 ahead.
I was up, right around $22 up.
Somewhere in there.
So dollar bets.
Yeah, I was 20 or 21. So,
yep.
So anyways, we'll come back to the Kentucky Derby here in a minute. But the big news of the weekend was the NFL draft.
Yes.
And we'll talk a little bit here about what our thoughts were on some of the things that the Bucs did. But first, we're going to take a look at the draft globally. Chief, I know you've taken a look at a couple of teams and you've got some things to share with us. So I'm gonna give you the runway.
Yeah, so this is a fun draft to watch, and it's even fun to look at now. So I've got 4 teams I want to talk about. One that made the wrong choice, one that made the right choice, even though it's an unpopular choice. One that I'm giving a draft grade of a D, and then finally I'll round it out with what I consider the biggest gamble of the entire draft. Okay, so let's just start. We'll talk about the wrong choice. The Cincinnati Bengals definitely made the wrong choice. Okay, so with they went ahead and picked Jamar Chase. Now, Jamar Chase didn't play this past year. He came out of LSU. He opted out of the 2020 season, so he hasn't played since 2019. 2019, he was probably the best receiver in college football. Having said that, when he came against real competition, he had a hard time getting off the line of scrimmage. When big guys were jamming him, stuff like that. He had a hard time, getting any type of freedom from there. So if that's the wrong choice, I really felt that they passed on what was the right choice, which was Penny Sewell. Penny Sewell offensive tackle out of Oregon. This is a guy, offensive lineman. Oh, there are some positions in the NFL, they are always a gamble. Okay, every draft is a gamble, really, no matter what position it is. But a quarterback, running back, and wide receivers are really and truly the biggest gambles that you're going to make, in the draft. If you want to take a safe bet, you go with some sort of lineman, defensive lineman, offensive lineman, and this guy, Penei Sewell, could have been a decade-long player for the Bengals, opening runs, protecting the passer, really and truly making their offense better all the way around. So the Bengals, wrong choice. The team
can I jump in for a second?
Okay, but don't throw me off my rhythm. Go ahead. Don't mess up my rhythm.
All right. So, I understand where you're coming from, and I agree, because Joe Burrows didn't finish the season in Cincinnati last year because he didn't have the protection that he needed. He ended up hurt, right?
Correct.
But do you think that, part of the connection was Jamar is from LSU. So he has played with this wide receiver. Joe Burrows has played with this guy before. Were they looking for that connection? Did Joe Burrows have, a voice in the matter? What do you think?
Joe Burrows, I'm sure he had a voice in the matter. You take all the information that you can get, but at the end of the day, if you talk to a quarterback, what do you want? Quarterback's always going to say, I want better receivers, because a receiver will make a great receiver make an average quarterback look fantastic. So, you want that guy there, even if it's not the best thing for you. I stick with my guns. I believe I get the relationship and stuff like that goes on between Chase and Burrows, but I really believe that they would have been a better football team if they had taken Penei Sewell. All right. The team that made the right choice. The Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos had an option here on how they wanted to do with this. Could they draft a cornerback in Patrick Surtain, or could they pick up the quarterback, Justin Fields? They chose the cornerback. This is by far the best cornerback in the entire draft, and let me explain the importance to that. There are some positions on the field, not many, but some positions on the field. If you get the right guy there, it's almost like giving a 12th man. Okay, so if he can be developed into a true shutdown corner, what that does is it frees up the safety to go do something else. That safety can sneak down on run plays and become almost, a fourth linebacker if they're playing with four deep linebackers, or he can slide over and help another corner or another defensive back that can that maybe is having a little difficulty in their coverage for the day. Not the sexy pick. You don't really hear about cornerbacks unless one of two things happens. Either A, they intercept the ball, which, if you get a couple interceptions on a year, you're a standout corner, or you get burned. And that's where people forget, because Deion Sanders, famous for playing an entire game and his jersey never got dirty, never had to make a tackle because they just wouldn't throw at him. He had his guy blanketed. So he was taking that guy, whoever that receiver was, he was completely taking them out of the game. And, he wasn't getting safety help. So, that's the type of player that Surtain, I believe, could develop into. Not the sexy pick, but absolutely the right pick.
All right.
Nobody wants to interrupt.
Well, you were in a rhythm, you don't want to interrupt.
I don't want to ruin the rhythm. You can't mess with perfection.
Okay. Texans. Here we go, guys. The Texans draft grade D. They gave up first round pick, second round pick, everything that they threw in the kitchen sink to get this left tackle, Larry Tunsil, an amazing left tackle. Okay, but let's just look at some of where we're at here. By the time the 21 season kicks off, he's going to be 27 years old. From here on out, it's a diminishing return on their investment. Okay, nothing gets better for him. He gets older, he gets slower, his skills start to drop off. He can play in the NFL for 4 years, 5 years, something along those lines, probably still. But they gave up picks that could have been on their team for decades, for a few years. And at the end of his career, he will no longer be the elite left tackle that he is right now. He will be a starting left tackle, but he won't be, the best left tackle in the game. So, they gave up for 4 years, if you want to look at it this way, they gave up 2 players that could have been on their team for 10 years apiece. So 20 years for one guy who's only going to play, 4, maybe 5 years. Also, here's the other thing about the offensive line. Remember I said earlier that there's only a few positions that can double up, make a 12th man on the field. Offensive tackle is not one of those guys. He can't block. I don't care who you are. You can't block 2 guys at once. Okay. And so if you're the defense that's coming at him, are you going to send one guy at him? Or are you going to send 2 guys at him? You're going to send one because you kind of have to. You kind of have to cover, have to block that guy to make sure that he's not pancaking somebody and opening up a run lane. So you send one there, but you're going to send your double team somewhere else. Most of the time, you're going to send that guy somewhere else. So he is not occupying 2 defenders at once. So this is a guy they gave up, potentially 16 years of starter on their team, and they're going to get 4 out of it. I think terrible decision from the Texans. They overpaid. I'm giving them a D for that.
So
the other thing is they didn't have any draft. They didn't have a single pick until the 3rd round.
Right.
Yeah. They gave a 1st and 2nd round picks. The Bengals, now, biggest gamble. And I'm going to tell you, this is by far the biggest gamble of the entire draft. The 49ers trade up and they take Trey Lance, quarterback out of North Dakota. This guy has the fewest passing attempts of any quarterback that's ever been drafted in the 1st round. Just over 300 passing attempts at him. Okay. And he was essentially playing, junior football. He was playing Division II football before I'm serious. There's a reason why, this guy's there. He's like 6'2". He's
6'4". Hang on now.
Go ahead,
Trey Lance is one of my picks to become one of these stars out of this draft. So I've got a bit of a dog in the fight with that one, but I will not allow the downing of North Dakota State because even though they are in Division IIA, that is been a powerhouse of production here recently. I think they had 3 players drafted this year, so it is no longer there's too many players that are opting to play in these other optional leagues to get starting time to say that it's not a good league. A 1AA player, which is not even called that anymore, it's Division something or other. Are
you trying to tell me that you feel South Dakota can line up against Alabama or Florida or Clemson or Penn State?
On the whole, South Dakota State, which is what it is, not South Dakota. South Dakota State. It's actually North Dakota State.
It's North Dakota State.
Is not going to line up against Alabama and beat Alabama. Player for player.
They're not even going to be competitive. They're not going to line up against UCF and be competitive.
Right. But, okay. What school did Jerry Rice go to? Greatest receiver in all of NFL. He didn't go to Alabama. He didn't go to Michigan.
He went to hold on, man. I know this. Why can I not think of this right now? Go ahead, tell me.
Can't remember. I was hoping you knew.
Come on.
No, it's more. It was like Moorhead State or something. Anyway, the point being,
Moorhead State. It's something you've never heard of.
Walter Payton did not go to a big 1A school. Greatest running back on all time, arguably.
Mississippi Valley State University.
Mississippi Valley State. Thank you very much. Brett Favre, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. Southern Miss. I mean, come on. You don't have to be what? Brett Favre's not in the conversation of greatest ever?
No.
He's in the conversation.
Wow, you're kidding me. He's
in the conversation. I didn't say he's in the conversation of the 5. Montana, Brady, Marino, Favre. That's the conversation.
How is Marino part of this conversation?
Oh my God! All right, we are way off track.
We are off target here.
North Dakota State is a credible football program. It is no longer considered taboo by you old timers to say it's not to not draft a player from there. You can draft players from there and have success.
Okay, so hear what I said. I never said that Trey Lance is going to be a bust. I said he is the biggest gamble. He's the number 3 pick overall. There are guys out there. There are guys in that draft that are guaranteed starters. Guaranteed starters. okay? And they pick Trey Lance, who we have no idea how this is going to go down. I mean, this could go down as the greatest pick ever in an NFL draft, or more than likely, bust.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
know.
I agree 100% on the gamble.
All right.
I just feel I think he's got a better chance of succeeding with the position he was picked in.
Here's my problem with the Trey Lance pick. Okay, I think that the era of the NFL where a mobile quarterback, that run pass option quarterback, it's a waste of time. This isn't an option league.
Listen, there was a period of time when Trey Lance was pushing. They couldn't decide between him and Justin Fields who was actually going to be the number 2 best quarterback. I mean, they were edged. They were very close.
Whoa.
These guys were super close. So, I mean, here's the thing. 49ers just went through a season where they were crushed by injuries, a lot of injuries. And they're saying, you know what? We're not going to let that happen this time. We're going to go ahead and grab another quarterback just in case Garoppolo can't make that final pass. By the way, Garoppolo got him all the way to the Super Bowl, and he made
last season.
Yeah, 2 seasons ago, one bad pass in the end. He didn't have the ability to make that great play on that one occasion. Now, they must be thinking that maybe he doesn't. I don't know, but they are preparing to move on, but they don't necessarily have to. They're in a great position, actually. And if Garoppolo, we know Garoppolo's been hurt a lot, twice, right? Green Bay, he got hurt real bad. And then also when he came to the 49ers, he's been hurt twice. They know he's not very he doesn't stand up, to the injury the possibility of injury. So I think that's what they're thinking. Let's get this guy. We'll start getting him behind Garoppolo, and if Garoppolo goes down, we'll use this guy, or they might trade Garoppolo out.
I think that you got to keep Garoppolo there. I think, by the way, if Trey Lance is going to have any chance of succeeding in Kyle Shanahan's system, is going to be the place that he's going to have that opportunity.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, you're talking about a coach that likes to run the football. He's gonna give him every opportunity. He's gonna give him the best opportunity to do it. So, I'm not wishing any ill will on the guy. I'm just saying I think it's the biggest gamble of the entire draft. We're going to have to wait and see how this one plays.
It's interesting. We talked about this draft last week on the show, and one of the things we talked about is what we thought the first 3 picks were going to be. Nobody had the first 3 picks being quarterbacks.
No, actually, I'm big on. Well, of course, I just thought of a great line I had for the show. I got to write it down. We were supposed to have. We were supposed to have an NFL. I'm not going to call him an insider, but a fan that has a lot of NFL knowledge. He's not going to be able to make it. And I had this great introduction line for this, and I'm just going to let it out. I'm going to say, this guy. This is a guy that plays cornerback, and he's able to give us, a different perception of this because. I played on the defensive line. Pooh Bear played on the offensive line, and B-Love played in the band. And
I did not play in the band. Let's clear the air. I can't play a single instrument. I can't carry a tune in a bucket.
B-Love, there's nothing wrong with playing in the band.
What?
Wow.
The band guy.
That was my line.
I turned into the rock stars later.
I couldn't be able to use it, but that's what got me just off track because I remembered that line. But I had to get it in. Sorry.
I played linebacker, by the way.
Oh, there we go. Great.
All right. So I think we were all surprised that quarterbacks went first, second, and third pick.
Everybody was.
So let's talk about the Bucs a little bit. And Pooh.
Before you move on to the Bucs, just the tight end that Atlanta picked up, Kyle Pitts, they got the best player in the draft. And he happens to be in our division. And Devin White and Levante David are going to have their hands full. Not only that, our DBs are going to have their hands full. This guy is 4.3 speed. He is ridiculous. Guess how many drops he had last year?
None.
I'm guessing 0.
Yeah, 0.
0.
You know what? It's easy to have no drops when your quarterback puts it right in your hands.
Ooh, Kyle Trask, baby. Now, did
Who?
he make
Hold
Kyle
on.
Trask look good, or did Kyle Trask make him look good? Or, I don't know.
For nothing, but Atlanta had one of the best drafts out of everybody out there. And I know we're gonna have to see these players, but if anybody can get them up to play against a tight end like Kyle Pitts, it's gonna be our army of tight ends that we've got now. Of course, Cameron Braid's back, and we just what's his name?
OJ Howard.
OJ Howard's back. Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
and of course the big guy, the Gronk. So
okay.
The Gronk.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to slow you down there.
No, I mean, listen, I'm not as easily thrown off as the Chief. So don't worry about it, Pat. Bring it. All right, so let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the Bucs draft. And we talked about what our expectations were for the upcoming Bucs draft on last week's show, and Pooh Bear is going to share us a clip real quick of that.
Yeah, I think there may have been some insight, or maybe some some great Karnak fortune telling going on. Let's take a look.
Passing, I'm going to give you a quarterback. You guys are all going to laugh at me.
I don't laugh at Trask at all. I think Trask is actually going to be a solid NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Here's why. The guy has had to come through hardship to even be a starting quarterback at Florida. And I love people who find a way to win. He's the most used to being a pocket passer. Like, he's an NFL style quarterback.
He is low key the player I'm hoping the Bucs are able to get at 32.
I have a note on that too.
I think that in order to set this team up for future success post Tom Brady, you need a player of the caliber of a Kyle Trask.
I think so too. I think Kyle Trask doesn't need to start this year or next, and I think he's patient enough to do it.
Right.
Like I said, I mean, the guy had never been a starter even in high school until he got to the University of Florida. Those are the type of locker room I'm going to find a way to win guys that football teams need.
I like Kyle Trask, but let me tell you how I think we get him. The first thing is the first option is that we're not going to get him. Kyle Trask probably isn't going in the first round, and he's probably not going in the second round.
Nope.
Other teams have.
He might go in the
leads.
second round.
He might go in the second round. It kind of depends on where people are looking, but that would give us. We could easily trade out of the first round and back into the second round. Down a couple slots, save a couple dollars, and pick up Kyle Trask and an edge rusher. Something along those lines.
Did he just say Kyle Trask and an edge rusher?
I did say that.
Wow.
So, listen, I've never been more excited about a second round pick than about this. And I think all of the reasons we talked about on the show last week, he doesn't need to start right now. These for other quarterbacks who were drafted first, second, and third, 2 of the 3 of them are likely going to start week 1.
And most of that time is going to be spent on their back because their team is not very good.
Yep.
Where if we see Trask at all this season, if it's not mop-up duty, it could be in a position where Brady's hurt or suspended or whatever.
Suspended?
I'm just saying, you never know.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, I'm just telling you, those are the reasons why somebody might not play.
Okay.
I don't.
Oh, dude, knock on wood. Do something right now. You just. What did you?
I don't even know what. I'm speechless right now.
Oh my goodness!
Like, he's been suspended before, guys. I mean, come on. This is
You
not.
just ruined our season.
How? I'm just telling you, if we see Kyle Trask, it's going to be in a good situation where he's not going to spend a lot of time on his back because this team is built to accommodate somebody like him coming in. Other teams are not.
It is a perfect scenario. He is a pocket passer. He's a big body, and there's no better person to learn from. Where he's going to make his money, where he's going to make the team, where he's going to do something good for us is going to be he learns how to be smart, read defenses quickly, and make the right decisions fast. And Tom Brady's the guy that can teach him to do that. Right. And because it's not going to be his mobile. He's not very mobile at all. That's not what he's going to be doing. He's not going to extend plays that much. He's a big guy, kind of like Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger. He might be hard to take down when he's throwing. sometimes because he's a big boy, but he's, he doesn't have the arm strength he has okay arm strength. I'm not saying it's terrible. He's not, hopefully he's not going to be throwing ducks, but he's not an Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to be throwing into tight windows. And Tom Brady has a better arm than some pundits out there have labeled him as. And I've got articles to back that up. I've done a lot of research. He's got a decent arm. Tom Brady does have a decent arm. He can whip it if he wants to.
All right, so let me give you guys
a Rodgers level, obviously.
Let me give you guys a couple of things to consider. Do you know in all of college football last season which quarterback completed the most passes over 20 yards?
Ooh.
I have a guess since we're on the topic.
Is it Kyle?
It is Kyle Trask.
Yes.
He also had the highest percentage of completions over 20 yards in all of college football last year. How do you guys think Tom feels about this pick?
So Tom was on board with it, by the way, and he knew about it. Yes, he knew about it ahead of time. The Buccaneers let him know that they were thinking about picking up a quarterback, and he was on board with it. And I'm sure they sold it to him as not, hey, we need to get our future, which obviously we do. But the better sale is that we need to have a decent backup just in case you go down. He can keep things going until you come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This guy winds up in a situation, a lot like Tom Brady found himself in. I mean, yes. Tom Brady, wound up, he was behind Drew Bledsoe, got to sit back and watch and learn from a really good Drew Bledsoe, good quarterback, so Kyle Trask is actually in a better situation. He gets to sit back and learn from a better quarterback. And, B-Love, you hit on it. And when you said that this guy finds a way to win, I remember watching him come into the game. Was it against Tennessee? Felipe Franks got injured, and they weren't doing anything. And Kyle Trask comes in and says, "Give me the ball. I'm going to make this happen." And I mean, the entire team responded to that. Somebody who wants to play, wants to win. I honestly feel that Tom Brady and Kyle Trask are going to have a lot in common.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm a Gator fan, so I've watched him literally change the Gators into competitors in the
contenders. They were like, they went through a couple of seasons where they couldn't figure it out at quarterback, and that was like the thing that they were missing. And he came in, late 2 years ago, late into that season, and he turned that club around, and they had a pretty decent season this past season as well. So it's pretty exciting because, again, there's no pressure on him right now to do anything other than to learn how to be an NFL quarterback. Right. And some of these other guys are going to be like, today they're under pressure for week one, so I think that's definitely advantage. I think we were also, at least we assumed we would get him with the 32nd pick, and we were able to get him with the last pick in the second round. So I think that's a win as well. But what were your overall feelings about the rest of the Buccaneers draft?
I like the Joe Tryon pick. I wasn't really familiar with him at first until I started researching him after the pick was made. And I'm looking at his stats over here. But he if he had played this past season, which he opted out, he was not a 2020
I have a problem with that, by the way.
Well, his team only would have played 4 games anyway. So it wasn't like he was, opting out of a 16-game season. It was, hey, they weren't going to start in the fall. They didn't want to start until almost Christmas time. And then when they did, he's like, what, why am I doing this? But regardless, some of the other pundits had him as a top 10 pick had he played. Basically after the end of the 19 season, he would have been a top 10 pick. Mm-hmm. So clearly he's got the motor. He's got the skill. I'm excited. I think it was a great fit as far as the need. When you look at the needs the Buccaneers do have with the aging defensive end edge rushers, there's no guarantee.
The edge rusher that Chief was looking for.
Yep, that's right. He called it. So it just so happens we swapped the rounds that we thought they'd come in.
Joe Tryon, he comes in. A lot of these edge rushers are coming in around the 240 mark, and he's 6'5". He's almost 260. So we're not talking about a guy that is going to be strictly a pass rusher. He's going to be, I believe, in there and rundowns as well, because he's not reached his full growth yet. I don't think. I mean, he may be as tall, but he's still got some maturing to go physically. I can see this guy easily lining up in the 270, maybe in 280 range. That's a big man with a big motor. I see him along the lines of more of a JPP style player, as opposed to Barrett on the other side of the ball. Who's a smaller edge rusher there. Yeah. So
a little speedier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think this guy, he's an impact player. He's a 4-down player. And I suspect, we can easily see him start as next year, and we're going to see significant play time for him, maybe around week 5 or 6.
I agree with Chief on that, because this guy is a physical specimen. A lot of the guys are talking about his physicality, his speed. He's very quick, especially his first couple of steps. All that I'm hearing from a negative side on him, and it's not negative, it's just time. It's just they need to refine his skills, and he needs to learn his angles. He needs to hide his blitzes, things like that, stuff that can be taught.
Coachable things.
Coachable things.
Absolutely.
Those are things Todd Bowles is going to put him in a position to excel and succeed and not fail.
Yep.
So his physique, we're talking about his physique. His physique reminds me of a Jason Williams. He's got that kind of long, not Jason Williams, Jason Taylor from the Dolphins. Long reach, lots of, wingspan, kind of lean, can play at an angle. Like, one of the memories of Jason Taylor was always, if he's getting blocked, his entire body is like at a 45-degree angle, yet he's still moving forward somehow. It was incredible. So just looking at his tape and looking at his frame, I think he's got that kind of a build to him. Hopefully he can do as well.
Were you guys surprised to see them take a wide receiver in the 4th round?
I was.
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised, because I know that he's there I know what purpose he's there for in his special teams. He's a gunner.
So you think he's a returner?
I thought I heard earlier that he's a gun. Well, maybe he's not a gunner, because you need bigger guys to be gunners. But I thought I heard him talk about him being a gunner.
He's a slight, wiry, fast fellow.
Very fast. I think he is a gunner. I heard him say that. So I see him. You sometimes you have to draft. That was our weakness, if anything, last year with special teams. But yeah. So I think that's what they're going in. And if he turns into something else, then hey,
Yeah. So a couple other things in NFL news I figure we should chat on here real quick, and we'll get on to some other stories. But the big story coming out of the NFL heading into the draft this weekend was Aaron Rodgers' apparent displeasure with being a Green Bay Packer. It seems to me that these we saw this with Deshaun Watson, early in the free agency period too, early in the offseason, which, at this point, we don't even know if that guy's going to play this season. He might be facing a significant suspension, maybe some incarceration. But what do you guys think about the news coming out of Green Bay?
I find it frustrating, because when you talk about great football programs out there, there's a couple of them that you want to play for, because the fan base in Green Bay is fanatic. Those guys are crazy. As a starting quarterback in Green Bay, you are a legend automatically. And he's had a lot of success up there. What I find is the problem here is when you get a quarterback, you get a player trying to dictate to management, what's going to happen. So he's moving beyond the field and into the front office. So I call it, the tail trying to wag the dog, and you can't have that. We've seen it in the NFL before. We saw, the players in Philadelphia, they revolted against Andy Reid. Andy Reid, that management says, oh man, people don't come to see Andy Reid. They come to see the players, and they wind up firing Andy Reid. Didn't work out so well for them. Now he's got a ring, and he's taking the Chiefs to the Super Bowl twice now. Only won once. But Andy Reid, fantastic football coach. You cannot let a player, I don't care how good they are, because here's the deal. How many years does Aaron Rodgers have left? At max. maybe 4, 5 years, something around that line, where you can have a coach can be there. Well, Belichick has been there for almost 20 years now. Mike Tomlin.
Well, listen, I look at
that there for a long, long time.
I do look at that NFC title game. I think we were all shocked when they lined up for a field goal late in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I think that's a coaching thing. That could be part of where Aaron Rodgers is frustrated. I mean, who are we? We're just a bunch of ham and eggers. But we were like, when they lined up for that field goal, we were thinking victory.
Oh,
this game's over. Right?
Yeah,
this
was a great
over.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's my thing. I think, some of these elite quarterbacks are taking a look at what Tom Brady just did. Spent his entire career marquee quarterback with an organization. Now, Tom was a free agent, so he could either choose to re-sign with where he's been his whole life, or he could go look for the team that he wants to quarterback. And he did that, and it paid off. Is that what Aaron Rodgers is trying to do? And is he just the next in a line of this happening across the NFL over the next couple of years?
I don't blame the guy for being mad because they drafted his replacement last year when they could have drafted him a receiver that could have helped him win the Super Bowl. And, I would have been frustrated. You could argue and you could argue whether it was right or wrong for him to go into management and say that I have some suggestions. There are a couple of guys in this league. There are a couple of guys in this league that are good enough to be able to do that. Tom Brady and probably Aaron Rodgers. Drew Brees would have been that kind of guy if he's still in the league, but he's retired. Now, whether you start getting involved in draft picks and, who you're going to bring in, stuff like that, the one benefit is guys like Tom Brady can bring you in talent as free agents. So you may want to listen to them because they're the ones that might be able to communicate and have a relationship with some of these guys that they can bring in. So but I get what Chief's saying. You've got to have a line that you can't draw, and you got to make sure that there is definitely there's a system in place and there's an understanding in place of how far players can go. But like you said, B-Love, that call in that game last year, they took it out of Aaron Rodgers' hands, and all Tom Brady had to do to win the Super Bowl was get one first down. Tom Brady had to get one first down. Come on. You got to put it in the hands of Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going to call what the kids are saying these days. I'm going to call cap on the Aaron Rodgers MVP, or Aaron Rodgers should have had a wide receiver last year. He threw 48 touchdowns and won MVP last season, 2020.
Can you define for me what cap is?
It's a lie. It's not. It's the opposite of fact.
Oh, you a lie.
Okay. Well, it's not true. So the argument is that he was upset that they drafted a quarterback instead of a wide receiver to help him. Tell me what more help he needed after he threw for 48 touchdowns and won league MVP.
Whatever that guy whatever guy that would have came in and gave him that one extra touchdown to beat the Buccaneers last year in that game.
Listen,
I mean,
some things are destiny, man.
You could argue that, but very, very seldom does a rookie help you in an NFC title game. But nonetheless, I just feel that
Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah, I was just going to say Tristan Wirfs.
Unless you're Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah. So I guess my point is the fact of him being upset with the team because they didn't draft the way he wanted them to draft. Really, I don't think is the case here. I think he's got some deeper seated issues, maybe with the coaching staff, maybe with the the organization as a whole not supporting him the way he wants to be supported. Maybe that includes the draft positions the way he wants to. I don't know. But, this information that's coming out, apparently it's not coming out directly from Aaron Rodgers. It's coming out through a secondary source saying that Aaron Rodgers isn't happy.
Yeah. So, but if it wasn't true, Pooh Bear, he'd be coming out saying it.
So
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. And
at this point, he'd have come out and be like, "Hey, I don't know where this is coming from. I'm happy in Green Bay. I want to be a Chiefs head forever."
He's hanging out at Churchill Downs with
Tom.
Yeah. Adam Schefter has reported that there is a big deal going on that's going to happen, and he's going to go to the Denver Broncos. The Broncos have put together an amazing package, and there's a guy that's in Denver. He's a sports talk radio host. Can't think of his name right now, but he's the one guy that everyone goes to hear the facts of things that are going to happen. He got a call from Aaron Rodgers. I heard it. I watched it yesterday. I watched this interview with this sports talk host. Got a call from Aaron Rodgers and said, "Where are you getting your information?" And he says, well, listen, it's pretty solid information, and is it true? And he goes, well, we'll see, and got off the phone. So he did not deny it to this guy. Something's going on.
So here's a couple of points that are different between the Tom Brady and the Aaron Rodgers situation. Number one, Aaron Rodgers is not a free agent. He has a contract.
Correct.
He's under contract. He signed that piece of paper. They paid him a ton of money. By the way, if he doesn't go back to Green Bay, he owes them $23 million, which I know he can write a check for. But the fact is that they've paid him. By the way, they've also made decisions as an organization. They made decisions based on the fact that they said, we have our starting quarterback. It's Aaron Rodgers, and now we can go and we can do this. We can take that need off the board. This business of they took it out of Aaron Rodgers' hands. We're talking about one play. Okay, did Aaron Rodgers complete every pass that he threw? No, he did not. There's multiple plays. That's the thing about football. It is a team game. You can't sit there and say and Aaron Rodgers certainly can't say we didn't win the NFC Championship game because they took it out of my hand. That's just if that's what's actually going on in their locker room. That's just him being a sore loser.
Yeah. But to your point, he said that that Aaron Rodgers said that he thought he had 4 downs to make this happen. So if he's making those plays, but he didn't have the 4 downs that he thought that he had, so the previous plays are affected by that thought.
Well, yeah, but he didn't complete every pass that he had before that. He didn't avoid every sack. He wasn't perfect. So, like I said, you can't sit there and point the finger at this guy at one coach call and say it didn't work out for him. And that's just the way it is. I mean, he could have had that 4th down, and he could have thrown the ball, or it could have been we could have intercepted it. They could have fumbled it. We just don't know what the outcome could have.
Exactly. They could have scored, and the Bucs could have countered. We don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
to your point, Chief, I think the wrong time to say that you're disgruntled where you're at is the week of the draft.
Oh,
you had
absolutely.
weeks.
Well,
weeks.
And that's what I was saying about he didn't say this the week of he didn't sabotage the Packers draft by coming out and saying he's unhappy. This was information that came from a third source that spreading this stuff. That's why I'm not blaming Aaron Rodgers for this. We don't even know, like you said, we don't even know that he's for certain said this. This is all rumor and conjecture. Yes, he is not coming out and denying it, but that still doesn't make him culpable here.
Yeah. The rumors are pretty strong. I mean, ESPN's reporting him, NFL.com reporting him.
Yeah,
a lot of people are talking about
I get
it.
it.
So I really think there is something
reporting it.
Who is?
His best friend is reporting it.
Well, and now the main event's reporting it, so it must be legit.
Boom.
It's definitely legit. Definitely legit. Which, okay, last NFL story is this. Will Tim Tebow line up at tight end for his former coach, Urban Meyer, in Jacksonville?
Well, it seems that Tim Tebow has opted out of the last 5 seasons due to COVID reasons to play baseball. And now he wants to come back and play tight end. Oh, man. I don't know.
If he would have been willing to do originally, he'd probably still be playing in the NFL.
Possibly. Oh, man.
I heard that Urban Meyer bought a house on the same street as Tim Tebow.
They've lived in the same neighborhood on the same street since Urban Meyer got hired by Jacksonville.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. All right. Well,
it'd be fun to watch. I think he could be like almost like a Tyson Hill for Jacksonville. You got a tight end. He can catch. He can kind of run. He can kind of throw. Kind of.
Well, Urban's got a soft spot for him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I think it would be good for Jacksonville football, right? Because, like Chief just said, it would bring
Tim Tebow is from Jacksonville,
right? Well, and when Taysom Hill comes into the games for the Saints, everybody gets to the edge of their seat. Something is about to happen, so you could end up with that same kind of viewership for the Jaguar games if they were to do this trade or this signing.
Right now, Jacksonville anything to put fans in the stadium.
Right? Exactly. Exactly.
So, yeah, I think he's gonna suit up. He's gonna be in for a few plays.
I think it'd be great.
If it actually works out, if he's productive, we could see him for a few more plays. But I would actually honestly.
So you guys think he's gonna play this season?
If for no other reason, marketing. If for no other reason.
I think Jacksonville is
taking a job away from somebody.
Well, he's not gonna play baseball. I can tell you that. So he's
Go ahead, Pooh Bear.
No, I just the whole argument of taking a job away from somebody. If that somebody was good, if they're good enough, they're going to be on somebody's roster.
Well, and they're not going to keep him over somebody that is markedly better than him.
Well, that's what he's alluding to. He's saying that you would keep a Tebow for fan purposes to sell seats and release maybe a third string tight end who would have been on your team had Tim Tebow not shown up.
Hmm.
So that third string tight end would never get any playing time, and if he was any good, he's going to wind up on the Dolphins, team or the Falcons team, whatever. It happens.
So the other major sporting event over the weekend was the Run for the Roses of Kentucky Derby, which is the first Saturday in May. And I believe everybody had a good time yesterday. Who won big?
Time.
This guy.
And by big, you mean like about $20?
Yeah, I think I came with hey, don't be sad. Don't be a sore loser, man. Do not be sore.
Hey, I ended up $21 in the black.
There was no betting going on. Those, that was 21 peanuts that we were exchanging.
Monopoly dollars.
Yeah,
I don't think the IRS is after us just yet, TSG. We got some ways to go.
Not for our dollar bets in the envelopes.
No, I don't think so.
So
So what was the worst bet that you made this week? Was it a stock pick from the stock medic, or was it betting against Bob Baffert in the Kentucky Derby?
Never bet against Bobby Baffert.
Bob Baffert. I did not bet against him. That's why we won. Pooh Bear and I are the only two people that picked.
We picked Funky Cold Medina Spirit.
Funky Cold Medina, yeah. So
Yeah. What about this dude who laid out $2.4 million?
Wow.
On the horse that was the heavy favorite?
Mattress Mac out of Houston. Listen, that guy bets big every major sporting event, and sometimes he comes away richer, and sometimes he loses like he did yesterday.
What's his net worth? Any idea what this guy is?
No, I'm sure we can find it real quick.
What's his name again?
Mattress Mac is his nickname. His full name, I don't.
Yeah, I've heard of him, but
he's in Houston. He owns a bed store or a chain now of household goods and bedding services, kind of like around here, maybe like a Famous Tate, but strictly for mattresses.
Okay. All right.
But he's
he's worth $100 million.
Yeah,
wow.
so he's
got 2.4 to blow.
Sorry, $300 million.
Yeah, he's grown an empire. He has grown an empire.
Wow, that is some sort of betting. It was crazy. I saw this stat where he moved, just his betting alone moved the line in the Derby the day of the race. I mean, that's
right.
There was more money at this one point of the day. There was more money on that horse than there was on the rest of the field combined. And most of it was his. So that's crazy. Hey, talking about controversy, the main event comes out this week with the chicken wars.
Yeah, we did.
And there are some people who are upset.
They are upset. There's people, I've heard from people that are upset that Wendy's wasn't included. I've heard from people that really don't think that KFC or Chick-fil-A always wins. What about this? Did you guys give Popeyes a fair chance? I'm like, yeah, we absolutely did.
Well, I heard from people that said that Chef Javi doesn't need to put sauce on his sandwiches anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
he
can put them on all the sandwiches, so it was even that way. But it's not the pure sandwich.
If he wants to do that, he would be able to do that on the next main event short, which would be spicy chicken sandwiches, because Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich is only spicy through the mayonnaise that they put on there. That's how they spice. That's how they make it spicy. And that's where I think Popeyes is really going to be able to compete with Chick-fil-A. But anyway, go watch the short. It's pretty entertaining, and you guys will see just how to do it, how a taste testing is supposed to be, how it was done. It was in a controlled testing manner. And
controlled environment.
A controlled environment.
It was controlled all right. We had to control the chief from eating all of the chicken before we started.
Oh my gosh. There was a lot of, can we eat now? Can we eat now?
That dude was ready to go.
I came hungry. Look, if we're gonna eat 6 chicken sandwiches, you can't show up full. I came hungry. I was ready to do this.
Yeah, Chief is cutting up the sandwiches, and he's cutting them up. I'm looking down, and I get this little nugget of a sandwich, and Chief's got this big old sandwich going on here, and looking. I'm like, what? What's going on, man?
So what you're saying is like the old rule of one of you cuts and the other one picks. The Chief wasn't doing. So he was cutting and picking out the side of the sandwich he wanted.
No. But when I cut the big side so that it was on my side of the sandwich, so you got to reach around. There's some strategy involved here. You got to know what you're doing. He got all bun on one, I think. So
Half the least resistance. He's reaching in there, grabbing it.
Yeah. Listen. Before we roll into our next sports story, Chief, you shared a funny article with us this week about a couple who escapes from an assisted living facility.
Dude, it's crazy. They're 80-something years old. They're in the memory ward, which the memory ward is for patients with like Alzheimer's, dementia. They have to lock you into this thing because these people will wander out and they forgot where their room is. So that it's a locked ward. This guy is a World War II vet, falls back. On his military training, which had something to do with Morse code, realizes how the doors are locked using whatever system is they're using. He hacks it. Not only does he get himself out, but he breaks his wife out, a la Hogan's Heroes, and they make a break for it. I mean,
so it just happenstance. I picked up my in-laws from the airport this morning, and they live in East Tennessee, and they're familiar with this story as well. And we were talking about, how the husband used his Morse code abilities from World War II to listen to the keypad tones. That's what it was. He knew that when the nurse or whoever, the orderly, came in to serve them or whatever, when they would leave, they would press a certain code to get out. He was memorizing the tones, and that's what he used in order to activate it again and use it to get out. That's pretty crazy.
That's
wow.
Yeah,
well, hopefully they didn't
get very far. No,
yeah.
they were collected again,
and they were safe. They were safe.
Yep.
Yeah,
they were returned safe.
Yeah, man, you gotta want it. You know what I'm saying? Or like
That's
maybe
it.
did you really want out, or was it really about proving you could do it? Like there's that little competitiveness in you to do it.
I'm sure it was he really wanted out, and it was just they say that I had my grandmother suffered from dementia, and her memory from 60 years ago was stronger than her memory from the morning, right? So I'm sure this is the same situation for this couple, where his training was so familiar to him from 1940 something that he was able to rely on that more than he was able to rely on where he was or what he was doing. So I think that just goes to show the power of the human brain and how strong it can be when it's healthy, and finding that one healthy spot of his 80-year memory from the 40s and was able to put that into use. I thought that was pretty cool.
I feel like if you're the the management of this assisted living facility, you have to get this story out. I mean, you have to, because now you're like, listen, the only person that's ever been able to break out of our facility was a World War II commando or something like that. It takes legit skills. Any other dementia patient is safe. It's.
See how
they certainly should
justify.
They certainly should spin it that way.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's
and
not
on top
good
of that,
for
change the code.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they need to check some of those rooms for tunnels now. See what's going on in there. The spoons aren't being returned from the dinner trays.
He's walking the floor out in his pants every day in the yard. Andy Dufresne style.
Yes. So listen, obviously we're excited about the direction of the defending Super Bowl champions. They had a pretty good draft, it looks like, this past weekend. The Tampa Bay Lightning, congratulations. They're going to take another run at the Stanley Cup. They clinch playoff berth this week. But what in the heck is going on with your Tampa Bay Rays?
Well, they won today.
They did win today.
See?
What does that put them? 2 games below 500?
Nah, I don't know. I'm not counting right now.
If we're still in last. We've gone from first place, the American League East, to last place in the American League East. And
wow, we're worse than the Yankees?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We've lost
500 now.
We've lost 3 in a row.
Don't.
I don't
until
see
today.
a really good future for the Rays right now. It's finally catching up to them. You know with the pitcher having to stay in for 3 batters, he's not able to use his analytics like he was. Everyone else is catching on to moving players around on the field. So now it's coming down to, do we have the pitching and do we have the bats? At some point in time, that's just the way it has to go. And we're losing games 1-0. We're losing games that if we could hit the ball, we would be winning. And
yeah, Chief, I think that's my frustration. Is I felt like last year those 1-run games were the games that we won. We closed well. You know, right? We were closing out baseball games. We're not closing. You know,
I have to have the lead first.
Yes. So at first, earlier in this week, when Oakland came to town, I was feeling pretty good. You know, they had just come off like a 10, 12 game win streak Oakland had. And we beat them the first game, and we played them well in the second game and then lost, you know, in the late innings. We could have taken 3 out of 4 from Oakland. And to me, like, that could have boosted the confidence of the team. Mm-hmm. That could have put them on the right direction by playing well against a formidable team.
The camera's off.
Right? And they just didn't. They can't close it out.
Well, we should be getting G-Man Choi back pretty soon. Maybe he'll provide some excellent defense and maybe a spark on the bat. But we talked about it about a month ago, and we said, well, we're not really sure what the Rays are going to be. It'll be about 20 more games, I think we were talking about, to really for them to kind of figure out their chess pieces and how they're going to use them. Well, here we are. I don't know that they're unless G-Man Choi or they could make a couple of moves here to, you know. But I'll tell you this: the division's still very tight. The only one that's really way ahead is Boston. Boston's pretty far ahead, but we're very close still to everyone. And a matter of fact, the Yankees are in 3rd place, and they're under 500. So we're not far out from having a nice streak and getting right back in it.
That's it. The Rays are going to hit eventually, and it's just a matter of, you know, making sure that the pitching and defense stay where they are, and let the hitters start hitting. So once that happens, we're going to be fine.
Yeah. It's just frustrating to come off such a great season, an exciting season last year, to see them, you know, struggle the way they are, and some of the old things that we thought we had kind of grown out of with, you know, the iffy bullpen, but the hitting as well. And I'll tell you, like, so far I would go with my league and my team MVP is Austin Meadows. It seems like he hits us out of problems more than anybody else.
I don't know. I'd have to argue with that. He's left a lot of players on base. He's not hitting when he should. He hit a 3-run home run today, which definitely helped, tied the game up. But, you know, this past 2 weeks, he has been, you know, leaving runners on. It's been Joey Wendell has been the best hitter as far as, you know, situational hitting, getting himself in a scoring position. I would say that would be the team MVP at this point.
Yeah, it would be nice if they could all play well at the same time.
Yes.
You know, like we have a team of like streaky players, like A-Roz is red hot for a little while, and then maybe he goes cold, and then
right, and then
you know, we saw Kevin Kiermaier kind of get hot a little bit. Look, when he came off the injured reserve, he's back to being Kevin Kiermaier. You know, they don't all play well at the same time, and if they did, this would be a much different team.
Yeah. So let me, as a positive person, I'm going to look at the bright side of this week and look at and say what I found valuable this week, and that was the start of Shane McClanahan. Made his first regular season debut, was really, really good. He had, you know, one mistake pitch that cost him a home run, and then Luis Patino came in. That was one of the players they got in exchange for Blake Snell. He looks absolutely stellar. So I'm going to, choose to look at the positive side. This rotation in the near future is going to be, it may not be this year, it may be next year, but with Glass down at the lead, maybe McClanahan and then a Patino, throw in a Honeywell or even the other McSwirly kid that played last year did pretty well. Anyway, there's several other players, pitchers that can come in, starting pitchers, and just dominate. I think future looks bright, regardless of what happens this season with the pitching staff.
You know, we don't have an MVP on this team. I'm going to say we have an MOP.
Uh-oh.
That's the most okayest player on the team.
I like it. That is accurate to a team.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The most okayest player.
Most okayest player.
So here I'm going to end you guys with this because we're just about out of time. But Pooh Bear, you've been very vocal about your displeasure of the extra inning rule in Major League Baseball, where today at the end of 9 you put a runner on second and try to speed things up. Well, how about the Pioneer League, which is a minor league, comes out with a new rule this week that they're going to end extra inning games in a home run derby style. What do you guys think?
Nice. I applaud any league, Major League Baseball or an independent league, in coming up with new ways to make this game exciting, right? What I won't stand for is sticking with something that doesn't work. So if they want to try this in the independence leagues and let them have at it and see how it works, let the players grow up with it, let's marinate with it for a little while, and then bring it to the major leagues, I'm all for it. Because the fact remains,
like a hockey shootout.
Kind of. I like that analogy. It's and hockey shootout is very exciting. Sometimes it can get a little one-sided if you've got a good goaltender, but that's hockey. That's the sport. Go ahead.
If this comes into fruition, okay, I assume that you're going to be able to pitch your own guy, take your own guy out there to throw to your batters like they do in the home run derby. We have to put Diego Castillo on the mound because nobody throws more home run pitches than that guy does.
Wow.
Not
even Chaz Rowe. Not even Chaz Rowe.
Wow, man, now we've got an arsenal of guys for tie ball games.
We got an arsenal of bullpen guys. So the deal is at the end of 9, each team picks a batter. Each of those batters gets 5 pitches.
Yeah, from your guy.
So Chief, to your point, your guy needs to be able to throw strikes, right? Because if he throws them in the dirt, that's a wasted pitch.
Right.
So you got to be able to throw strikes in there. And at the end of each of them having 5, if it's still tied, you pick another batter, and those 2 guys go head-to-head. First one to homer wins.
That's fantastic. So I would want Bryce Harper's dad to pitch to me or to my player.
Oh, gosh. No, just let him pitch to Bryce Harper.
Exactly. Because Bryce Harper's dad is phenomenal in these home run derbies.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. Are they going to bring out the L screen? Or are the players going to put their hats on backwards? Is it going to be loose, or is it still going to be, game deciding, tight? Because I love the home run derby.
Could you imagine a World Series Game 7 decided like this?
Oh, to see that? No. Oof. Wow. Asterisks.
Hey, maybe they'll let fans in the field, and we can all go scrambling for balls.
Let the kids out in the outfield to shag
yes.
Get the Century 21 gold ball for if you hit this one out.
Yes.
It counts as 2.
There's so much they can do with this.
Cool. All right, gentlemen. That's all the time that we have for today. Pooh Bear, you want to close us out?
We are done. Yes. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far in the video to this pre-recorded special edition of the main event, not really live show. So we do this every Sunday at 7:00. We'd love to have you along next Sunday. We'll be here for that. So go ahead and subscribe to our channel and make sure you press the bell icon, which will alert you every time we upload a new video like the chicken sandwich war to end all wars. So we plan on doing another one of those very soon. So you want to be a part of the crew for that one. So we're done here.
That one just so that you can find out why the chicken crossed the road. You got to watch it for that reason.
The dad jokes and that. My kids are rolling their eyes. Anyway, good night, folks. Say good night, Chief.
Good night.